This moment is no coincidence. You're here because you were meant to be. You didn't stumble onto this message by accident. You were called. There's something stirring in the atmosphere, and your spirit knows it. You've felt the shift. You've sensed that something bigger is unfolding. And now, it's time to wake up to what's really happening. You are not like the rest. You've been tested, stretched, and overlooked, but not forgotten. This is your confirmation. The world may have tried to break you, but God has been building you in silence. And now, He's about to put you on display. Everything you've endured wasn't for nothing. While others put their trust in fragile systems, you've been positioned to rise above the collapse. This isn't the end. It's your beginning. Hold tight. What's coming for you is greater than anything you've lost. Get ready, because your season is about to shift. You're not here just to survive. You're here to lead, to shine, and to step into a level of breakthrough the world won't be able to ignore. This is your moment, and it starts now. The foundations beneath the ordinary are shaking. While many remain distracted by the noise of daily routines, a hidden elevation is unfolding for those attuned to a deeper frequency. This isn't about status or wealth alone. It's an inner transformation, a quiet shift that repositions the heart before the world even notices the change. In this unseen rising, scarcity dissolves, and space is made for fulfillment to take root, not just in the material, but in the soul's posture toward life itself. Sudden clarity begins to light your path, not by chance, but because something vast and unseen is guiding events to align in your favor. To walk in this new rhythm requires more than belief. It requires participation. The signal has already gone out, and it is time to respond with intention. Before moving forward, pause. Let the gravity of this moment settle in your spirit. Take deliberate steps now. Engage with this message as an act of agreement. Commit to becoming part of something larger, and send out a sign that you are tuned to what's unfolding. Use a number, a word, an action, anything that becomes your personal echo in the spiritual chamber. These moments carry more weight than they seem. If this message speaks to you on a level beyond words, stay with it. Some will drift, unable to grasp the urgency beneath the calm surface. But if the pull inside you keeps you here, you're already ahead. What lies ahead isn't random. It's a response to your readiness. This is no time to be casual. The shift has already begun. You are not here by accident. If you feel the pull, the knowing deep inside that you are chosen, this is your moment. Click the super thank you button and give $20 or more to unlock deeper insights, exclusive content, and a path that aligns with your divine purpose. This isn't just a contribution, it's a declaration, a step toward who you were meant to be. Answer the call, walk with us, and step fully into your destiny. Your journey begins now. In mercy, the unseen prepares its messengers. While others lean on temporary comforts and systems designed to distract, those awake have already begun gathering what they'll need. The winds of change don't announce themselves with noise. They arrive quietly, yet powerfully, for those who've learned how to listen. The world's illusions are fraying. Certainties are being revealed as temporary scaffolding, and those who built their trust on appearances are now watching their towers lean. But those grounded in spiritual awareness aren't surprised. Their vision was never based on appearances. This is not a fall, it is a liftoff in disguise. The unraveling around you is clearing a space for something new to be established. The old had to make room for the unseen promise. The choice is no longer distant. Will you adapt to what is fading, or respond to what is rising. These crossroads will split the path in two. For some, a descent into confusion and struggle. For others, a door into clarity and expansion. It is not a question of what's happening. It's a question of who's prepared. The wise are already adjusting, quietly repositioning, holding tightly to wisdom instead of worry. The illusion of safety has begun to fracture. What once appeared solid now reveals its hollowness, and the scaffolds built by human logic tremble under their own weight. The frameworks people relied on for stability, once hailed as unshakable, now flicker like a weak signal in a fading transmission. Those guided by temporary promises face a harsh awakening, while those led by timeless wisdom find the way forward illuminated. Security, once thought to be locked away behind steel and glass, is no longer where it was expected. The future no longer belongs to digital digits or official seals. It rests instead in the tangible, in what can be held and moved with intention. Preservation now demands practicality, foresight, and trust in what carries lasting value through shifting seasons. Where most remain anchored to fragile systems, another path calls. A voice without echo, constant and ancient, urges discernment. Not all guidance is spoken loudly. Some truths arrive through stillness and knowing. The unseen hand doesn't promise ease, but it does offer direction. And that direction leads away from decay and into preservation. When the pressure builds, many will collapse inward. Confusion rises like smoke from a distant fire, clouding judgment and blurring what once felt clear. But those prepared by insight rather than panic endure, not untouched, but unmoved. This moment does not come to destroy, but to reveal what was always unsteady. In a world spiraling toward disarray, a quiet few will shine. Their clarity won't come from wealth or power, but from being anchored in something beyond the shifting tides. As panic spreads like static in the night, their calm becomes a signal others seek. Strength, here, isn't shown in resistance, but in rootedness. This unfolding moment is not a random event. It is an unveiling of what lies beneath belief. Real conviction is revealed not in comfort, but in crisis. What survives is not what was loudest, but what was most deeply grounded. A new horizon appears, and with it, the invitation to step beyond appearances. The rupture ahead is not confined to markets or materials. It tears through unseen walls, within hearts, within ideas, within hopes placed in fading things. The structures born from pride and illusion unravel, revealing the emptiness at their core. In this great turning, depth is sought by those willing to feel the silence left behind. Faith now is not a slogan, but a shelter. In a time when familiar roads disappear, the compass of trust becomes everything. While outer systems collapse, something stronger arises, a foundation unseen but unbreakable. What once looked like an ending now reveals itself as a realignment with eternal truth. What the world called stable was temporary, and what many ignored now proves indestructible. This is not the crumbling of hope, but the invitation to place it where it was meant to be all along. In the space between what falls and what remains, the true future begins. Calm does not come from ignorance, but from deep-rooted clarity. When the structures of society crack and unease spreads like wildfire, most lose their footing. But there are those who remain steady, not because of their own strength, but because they are grounded in something deeper than what the eye can see. When the noise gets louder, their peace becomes more profound. The fall of those who once ruled with quiet control unfolds not with a scream, but with the thud of misplaced trust. Their era ends not through revolt, but through exposure. But this is no time for celebration. It's a moment to reach out to those whose eyes are just now beginning to open, unsure of what to believe or where to go. This elevation isn't about personal gain. It is a summons into purpose. In uncertain hours, presence matters more than power. While the foundations shift beneath most feet, a select few stand unmoved, not because they are untouchable, but because they were designed for the very hour others feared would come. In a flickering world, they are the quiet flame. True protection doesn't come wrapped in luxury, but in foresight. Paper promises lose meaning fast when the environment tilts. Those who hold what holds real worth, substance over symbols, move through turbulence with calm hands and clear minds. The difference isn't in luck, but in preparation. While values spiral and numbers lie, discernment tells the truth. Material tools alone won't save anyone, but in the hands of the prepared, they become bridges instead of burdens. This isn't driven by desire, it's fueled by insight. Preservation demands intentional stewardship. As illusions dissolve, the ones who've listened and prepared are not caught off guard. What was seen as old-fashioned now becomes essential. When systems built on illusion evaporate, what is tangible surges in relevance. Endurance doesn't just come from holding things of worth, it comes from understanding their place in the bigger picture. Metal may have weight, but wisdom is what keeps it steady. In times of noise and tension, discernment rises to the surface. The ones who navigate these days best aren't those who move quickly, but those who move rightly. Lasting provision comes from aligning insight with action. You are not here by accident. If you feel the pull, the knowing deep inside that you are chosen, this is your moment. Click the super thank you button and give $100 or more to unlock deeper insights, exclusive content, and a path that aligns with your divine purpose. This isn't just a contribution, it's a declaration, a step toward who you were meant to be. Answer the call, walk with us, and step fully into your destiny. Your journey begins now. Clear direction will come, and with it, a challenge. Act swiftly without needing external confirmation. What looks foolish to the crowd will be the very act that leads to preservation and breakthrough. The call doesn't always make sense to the world, but it always fits within divine design. As chaos multiplies, distraction becomes its sharpest weapon. But those attuned to stillness know better. The louder the world gets, the more important it becomes to focus inward and listen to the quiet signals that guide every meaningful decision. Each moment of obedience builds the path toward greater clarity. While everything around seems to disintegrate, each correct step in alignment with divine insight becomes a foundation stone. The unraveling world gives way to a rise that no obstacle can delay. What appears to be the end is merely a threshold. After the surge passes, those who endured don't just recover, they ascend. What once blocked the way now clears it. What once seemed impossible now becomes inevitable. And from the fragments of collapse, a stronger structure emerges. The age of inherited limits is breaking apart. What once restrained generations is crumbling beneath the weight of its own deception. Those tethered to outdated patterns watch their ground vanish, while those guided by higher truth begin to ascend. This unraveling is not destruction. It is the gateway to a new era, one where inner alignment becomes the seed of lasting transformation. From the ruins of control emerges a season of grace. After the collapse, a different kind of favor unfolds. Doors that once refused to open swing wide. Not by effort, not by influence, but by a plan designed far beyond human reach. What was once resistance becomes release. This turning point is not about momentary relief. It reshapes the very path of what's to come. Cycles of lack are interrupted. The fog of uncertainty lifts. What was once an endless loop of not enough becomes a stream that doesn't run dry. The shift is not simply survival, it is foundation for legacy. The pressure of past burdens no longer lingers. What was heavy becomes history. A future rooted in clarity begins to take shape. One that isn't just about the now, but about every step that follows after. Blessing becomes inheritance, and what starts with one voice echoes through an entire lineage. Change doesn't arrive in silence, it ripples. Not confined to a single lifetime, its effect is generational. The ground beneath is not just shifting for a moment, but for every path to be walked after. This isn't a personal success story. It's the writing of a new narrative. A transformation unfolds that touches more than one life. Scarcity gives way to sufficiency. What once barely sustained now flourishes. This isn't random favor. It's the placement of a divine strategy to uplift and to impact far beyond individual gain. Watch the invisible shift reshape the visible world. As structures fail, what truly matters becomes unmistakably clear. Dependence on superficial anchors fades, and truth reclaims its place. It's not just a collapse, it's a mirror reflecting what never held true value. As everything familiar rearranges, so too does the thinking of an entire culture. No longer does success wear the same face. In confusion, some find revelation. As many grasp for fading illusions, a few see the light breaking through, and they follow it into purpose. This upheaval reveals the unseen leaders. While others panic, those with insight rise, not above people, but above the storm. Their role is not to escape the shift, but to interpret it. As others reject what failed them, a new voice becomes necessary, one grounded in something time cannot erase. In the noise of uncertainty, false promises multiply. Crumbling systems birth counterfeits that seduce the desperate. Voices offer shortcuts, illusions of safety wrapped in speed. But not all paths lead forward. Some are just circles in disguise. The trap of want becomes a snare for those untethered. What looks like gain masks a greater loss. Seduction lies not in the need, but in the speed. Real provision waits, but many chase shadows. It's not urgency that saves, it's patience, guided by trust. The fall of false security is the rise of true clarity. As the old world trembles, a new path opens. Where greed falls, grace rises. Where fear clutches, purpose stands. And in that purpose is not just survival, but unstoppable forward movement into something greater than what was left behind. What anchors you now is not the comfort of ease, but the clarity of discipline. In an hour where shortcuts tempt and uncertainty whispers panic, holding to divine insight becomes not just wise, but essential. This is not the season to gamble on fleeting promises or rush into hollow guarantees. Patience paired with trust carves the safest path through unstable terrain. Those whose hearts remain unclouded by desperation begin to thrive. What once felt like endless waiting now reveals itself as preparation. The climb was never random. It was building muscle for this very moment when everything shifts, and those who waited in faith walk into fulfillment. This shaking of the world is no accident. It is the precise moment tailored for your emergence. What others label disaster becomes your doorway. This isn't about recovering lost ground. It's about walking into ground that was always yours but kept hidden until now. The odds, always tilted against you, were never stronger than the plan in motion behind the curtain. What seemed unreachable begins to draw near. Where systems falter and fail, purpose awakens. The breakdown doesn't defeat you. It accelerates the elevation that's already in motion. Crisis surrounds, but the outcome is not chaos. It is clarity. What once seemed like a closed ceiling becomes an open sky. The preparation was never about surviving what is collapsing. It was about rising when others shrink back. Clarity sharpens when everything else blurs. In the noise of panic and the flood of false direction, stillness becomes sacred. The voice that has been whispering all along becomes thunder to those ready to listen. What guides you now isn't logic, it's divine resonance. Amid confusion, inner calm becomes more than peace. It becomes navigation. Listening is no longer optional. It is survival. Distraction will demand your attention, but attention must remain fixed. The difference between wandering and breakthrough lies in which voice you honor. True listening demands response. Guidance alone won't lift you, obedience does. Not just receiving direction, but acting on it is what unlocks what others only dream about. Every hesitation delays breakthrough. Every faithful step brings it closer. The institutions once trusted now unravel. Confidence once placed in numbers and networks slips through trembling hands. Yet in this disintegration, a strange stability arises for those led not by trends, but by timeless truth. While everything falls, they stand firm. Not because of chance, but because of choice. Strength today is not self-made, it's spirit-led. The difference is unmistakable. As systems stagger under their own weight, the prepared ones rise, not arrogant, but anchored, not untouched, but unmoved. Their peace isn't ignorance, it's insight. Even in the heart of collapse, their steps are steady. They are not immune to the shaking, but are built for it. Their direction doesn't come from headlines. It comes from a source not bound to the temporary. While others flail, they advance. The unraveling is not a wall, it's a gate. Prosperity is not crushed in the collapse, it is revealed. As the surface crumbles, new layers of purpose and abundance are uncovered, placed into the hands of those who were prepared in silence. What ends here isn't the story, it's the illusion. And what begins is a future no longer chained to old beliefs. This is the entrance to a time when alignment with divine rhythm becomes the new currency. The world's definitions lose their power, and new truths rise. There is a transfer happening, not just of assets, but of purpose. What once seemed unreachable now changes hands, not through force, but through faithfulness. Where manipulation once reigned, meaning now returns. This gain is not merely personal, it has direction. What is placed in your hands is meant to move outward, to extend, to restore. The old ways hoarded, the new era builds, and what you carry is not just wealth, but a new model for what it's meant to become. A shift unlike any other is unfolding, but only those tuned to the deeper current can recognize it. What's moving isn't just wealth, it's authority, purpose, and placement. A great reordering is taking place, pulling what was hidden into the light, lifting those overlooked into overflow. This isn't mere change, it's elevation, orchestrated from a higher realm. Long before circumstances hinted at this moment, loyalty was tested. When the easier path whispered your name, you chose endurance. Now, as the structures built on illusion unravel, a new instruction is heard. Prepare. The time has come where integrity meets reward, and what was once unseen is about to shift everything in its path. This is more than a moment. It's a threshold. What lies ahead won't simply challenge what you know. It will reveal who's been made ready. The unraveling that comes will divide not by status, but by spirit. It's not the strength of the storm, but the steadiness of the soul that will determine who advances. Passive belief won't hold during this coming test. The illusion of safety in worn-out systems is fading. What remains is the core of what you've built. Is it solid, or was it sand? The days ahead won't ask for credentials. They'll reveal conviction. Real preparation isn't found in what's stored, but in who's trusted. Relationship, not resource, will prove essential. What you follow when the path disappears will reveal what you truly carry within. The external shake will only amplify internal truth. Ready hearts recognize the moment. Readiness isn't panic or hoarding. It's the quiet resolve to respond with clarity. The ones equipped for this shift have kept their internal flame lit, even in silence, even in waiting. Their strength now becomes strategy. This isn't about managing fear, it's about trusting provision that was always in motion. The hour of testing reveals what's been anchored all along, and while uncertainty will tempt many to retreat, those grounded in trust will walk straight through what others flee. What once defined your past, scarcity, limitation, uncertainty, fades like smoke. A different kind of wealth is emerging, not just in material gain, but in the renewal of understanding what true success looks like. The old narrative is over. What begins now rewrites futures. The door you've long waited to see open now turns on its hinges. And it doesn't just reveal provision, it reveals your place. No more scrambling to survive. The design has always been for you to thrive, not by default, but by destiny. Every stretch, every fire, every wilderness moment had purpose. They didn't just refine you, they realigned you. Now, what others see as the end of comfort, you recognize as the beginning of release. This reversal is not random, it's revelation. The idea of barely enough no longer belongs in your vocabulary. The overflow is not fantasy, it's function. Provision expands not only to meet your need, but to pour through you. What you once hoped for becomes what others now witness. You are not here by accident. If you feel the pull, the knowing deep inside that you are chosen, this is your moment. Click the super thank you button and give $50 or more to unlock deeper insights, exclusive content, and a path that aligns with your divine purpose. This isn't just a contribution, it's a declaration, a step toward who you were meant to be. Answer the call, walk with us, and step fully into your destiny. Your journey begins now. What's being multiplied extends beyond currency. It fills unseen spaces, bringing restoration to joy, depth to relationships, and stillness to your soul. It becomes evident that abundance was never about accumulation. It was about being positioned to restore what's broken. This isn't prosperity as the world defines it. This is a holistic renewal, touching every realm. Where others sense loss, you embody restoration. The outcome is peace that can't be manufactured and fullness that can't be bought. You now become a vessel for more than survival. You are chosen to carry forward the new order. As the shadows of old systems retreat, the faithful step into influence, not for pride, but for purpose. This transfer isn't for comfort, it's for assignment. And so, in the midst of global shaking, a quiet uprising begins. Not loud, not flashy, but certain. Those who were tested now lead. The ones who listened now speak. And those who waited now walk into the space they were always meant to fill. This is the moment when a new chapter demands your full attention. The atmosphere is shifting, and what once held you down will now lose its grip. A fresh cycle begins, not just of external change, but of inner realignment. Struggle turns into a distant memory, not because conditions change alone, but because perspective does. An era defined by divine generosity unfolds before those willing to perceive beyond the surface. As outdated structures fracture, what has long been hidden begins to surface. The roots of earthly gain are uncovered, and the systems praised for their sophistication are revealed as empty, built on manipulation and borrowed illusions. The illusion fades, and with it, the false authors of wealth. A deeper truth steps forward. Real increase does not originate from clever strategy or status. It flows from the hands of the unseen. This discovery is as liberating as it is disruptive. The rules many trusted are overturned, and what they once called success is revealed as a fleeting shadow, not a lasting source. Those whose trust was never in appearances begin to step into what was always promised. The disruption many dread becomes the very portal into unshakable provision. The noise of the world fades for a moment, and in that stillness, a new awareness breaks forth. Wealth built on divine alignment endures where all else fails.